My fellow chuds, it is I, Hotler's best guy. As we all know, it's currently the absolute best time to be a gamer, obviously. Overpriced products, unfinished, uncooked, buggy mess releases, microtransactions up the wazoo, obviously. No frequent updates, no bug fixes, no nothing. Yes. If I did not know better, I would say it's a pretty bad time to be a gamer if you're looking into AAA slop. Because it's slop, obviously. And by the way, have you noticed actually that in the last year, or actually even 2 years maybe, all of the best-selling games, all of the best performers, all of the things that have gotten actual recognition by us, the people who matter, have been $20 to $40 games. And when I say $40, by the way, I'm not talking about that simp shell style of $49.99. No, when I say $40, I mean actually $40 on the dot or $39.99. Okay, I don't want to hear any of that blatant anti-consumer garbage dribble about, oh, it's $40 and the $40 is $49.99. No, that's called $50, you cretin. It is what it is. In any case, it's not looking good for gaming, but who honestly cares? There's so much good stuff out and it's absolutely insane, and AAA can burn in hellfire for all that I honestly care.
Guys, we're in some serious trouble. Gaming has been getting more expensive by the year, but right now it's about to get more expensive by the day. It already has. The same components that I have in my PC right now cost twice as much as they did just 2 years ago.
Based.
RAM just rose by 200% in just the last 2 months.
Good. Absolutely bis, by the way, because, I mean, I have stock in all of those companies.
Yeah. And I know some people are going to look at this and say, oh, well, this is a PC problem. No, all these different components, they're used in just about everything. Handhelds, consoles, whatever else. Everything is going to get dragged up with all of this. What's happening right now is that AI is taking over the world. Who would have guessed it? And these data centers are doing everything.
Don't you love AI? Don't you love the fact that the first thing that Google currently shows you is an AI summary about something being blatantly wrong and everyone knows it? Don't you just love that? Don't you love AI mode? God. Oh, I hate AI so much. It's useless, it's garbage, it's... By the way, the AI bubble, I don't think it exists, but what the hell is AI actually supposed to accomplish? Okay? Because as far as I can understand, this is what AI is supposed to do. It's supposed to make all that money. But when someone makes AI that can make all the money, it's gonna destroy the system in literally a millisecond, and it's gonna bankrupt everything. So what's the point of making all the money if you make money useless? Oh God, it's effectively the same play as those people who have zero media literacy who watched the Fallout TV show and said, the capitalists nuke the world so they can maximize capitalism. Yeah, some people are really stupid.
They can to be able to keep up with this AI gold rush because everybody wants a piece of that money. And that's pushed these guys to raid the consumer market for products, buying up everything off the shelves before we even have a chance to get our hands on it, causing a lot of scarcity and making prices skyrocket with...
That's not actually how it works. It's just the fact these companies who are making this stuff are fulfilling quotas that are not even fully fulfilled because they cannot manage the demand, and most of it is just going to companies that are currently doing AI, and less is going to the consumers because it's less profitable.
No end in sight. The part that really bothers me with all of this is just how obvious this play is. These guys are just getting way too sloppy for me. It's starting to aggravate me at this point. Like, if you're going to be a scammer, you got to try to hide it a little bit. But these guys don't even want to bother hiding it anymore. They're not trying to do anything to fix any of these issues. They're not scrambling to fix any of these supply issues. Instead, well, they're milking it. They're keeping their production tight, they're raising the prices, and they're using AI as the best excuse possible for them to just continue to take advantage of regular people, to squeeze you harder than they ever have before. And they're doing
Oh, that is true, though. That is definitely true. Again, all of these companies are obviously going to use any excuse to increase prices on something.
it all with governments backing them.
Oh, the tariffs. You see this thing? It now costs 5 extra cents to import. Oh, well, I guess I'm gonna increase the price of, for you by $5 then. It just makes sense. Yes, this is what all of these companies are doing.
They're going to drag this out as long as they possibly can, because every single month that they keep these prices higher, they're just going to continue to rake in record profits. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about those insanely high prices and who's causing them. I want to talk about how I think the games industry is using this moment to be able to manipulate us, and how I think this entire thing might back.
The games industry can't wipe its own ass at this point, let alone actually tell us what to think or do and or believe.
Fire on them in the most glorious of ways. This video is sponsored by Displayed, and right now they are running their biggest sale. We have talked a lot about prices on this channel, and we are going to continue to talk about prices on this channel, because if there is one thing that I actually want to bring to this space, it is awareness. Most people feel helpless when they see these prices spike. They feel like they're being pushed out of their own hobby, like decisions are being made for them by people who don't even care about games in the first place. But the more that you guys understand what's happening, the easier it is to see the pattern. And guys, navigating what's coming next is going to get very hard very fast. After the reveal of the Steam Machine, the first thing I saw was everyone arguing about the price. A lot of people were convinced it needed to be $500 or $700 at max, and that Valve should subsidize it to bring in more users. A whole different topic for another video, because Steam does not need a loss leader to get more people through the door. But I took the time to actually dig into the potential hardware costs and ended up chiming in on Twitter saying that
I said that if this thing is on $700, it's gonna sell really good. But I also said if this thing costs 1K, it's still gonna win out, because there is no world where Xbox and PlayStation, in my opinion, don't cost 1.5K. There is no world where that is not roughly the price of the next console release. So Steam's GameCube costing 1K will win out anyway.
Valve isn't posting the price because they're hoping that things change. The AI bubble has pushed RAM to obscene levels, almost 200% this year. People are saying it should be $500. That's the price of RAM alone. Now, this is a bit hyperbolic. Sure, I was using the highest end hardware prices, but the more that I researched this trend, the darker the picture became, not just for Valve's console, but just for gaming as a whole. Right now, we're seeing hardware prices skyrocket across the board. All of it's tracing back to rapid data center expansion, a tidal wave of investment that's been poured into AI. According to Stanford, the U.S. has almost already spent $110 billion into private investments just in 2024. Global spending in generative AI is already up 600% between 2022 and 2024. And in 2025, that number is estimated to hit $1.5 trillion. With that kind of money flying around, AI firms are expanding their data centers and buying up existing hardware at a pace that consumers simply cannot compete with. That demand alone is enough to be able to drive these prices.
Have you actually thought what's the funniest part about the AI slop bubble? Like, what are the actual improvements in AI that we're seeing? Like what are they? Yeah, we have some AI that can animate some stuff, but that's not the AI they are investing in. So all this money is going into AI that none of us actually can track how good or bad or whatever it is. And chances are it's garbage. Chances are it's absolute fucking garbage.
Through the roof, and that's before you even factor in scarcity. I feel like I'm losing my mind. How many people have been ignoring this? We have seen companies and even the media try to blame these price hikes on tariffs. They've been doing it all year. We've covered it on this channel, but this isn't about trade policy. This is an increase. It's driven by raw demand for components, and everyone is just letting these hardware companies and these software companies spin whatever narrative they want, whatever narrative benefits them, with almost no pushback at all. How has nobody questioned this? These hardware companies are making record money off of the AI boom. They're selling hardware by the truckloads to these data center giants. They're soaking up billions of dollars in new investment, and they're still not
By the way, I asked one of my friends who's into tech to give me companies that make DRAM because this thing is gonna, even if the AI collapses, RAM is still gonna be up. And I asked like, hey, give me the best companies that are making DRAM, and he's like, DRAM question mark, and I'm like, yeah, everyone's saying DRAM, and he's like, that's just RAM. DRAM is just RAM. Okay? It has gotten so bad that they are literally just making shit sound more strange and whatever. DRAM is RAM. It's just basic RAM nowadays. Okay? They're just adding things to make it sound more fancy.
Center giants. They're soaking up billions of dollars in new investment, and they're still not expanding production for consumers. Instead, they're keeping their supply tight. They're raising prices. They're pouring all that new money into high bandwidth memory for AI. They could ease the pressure on the consumer market if they wanted to, but why would they do that when scarcity is letting them charge more? So squeeze the normal people while feeding the AI expansion that's only going to just make all of this so much worse. Gizmodo only recently picked up on this issue with an article titled "We're So Screwed," written by Kyle Barr, where Barr wrote, "We have been reporting about the spiking costs of RAM prices since October. Essentially, AI data centers have such a demand for memory that the prices of SSDs, DRAM, and HDDs are all ballooning in price. This is most keenly felt in the discrete PC RAM market. Corsair, one of the most popular brands for fast gaming-ready RAM sticks, told Gizmodo over email our DRAM prices have increased in response to the severe supply shortage we're seeing across the industry." And it just keeps getting worse. A pack of 64GB DDR5 RAM from memory brand Crucial spiked from $150 to more than $400 in just 2 months, as evidenced by Amazon's price tracking site Camel. Other low-end RAM sticks may see less of a bump, but users will inevitably find that the more RAM they want, the more it's going to cost. 4 sticks of 16GB DDR5 RAM from Corsair now sells for an astronomical $688. The same sticks in white demand $948, and they're not even the priciest RAM available. Guys, I want you to know that this is nothing like the crypto boom that we saw just a few years ago, where GPU prices were driven by a hype cycle that eventually died. AI is far more of a tangible technology. It is going to keep expanding, it's going to keep improving, and it's going to keep getting massive support from governments and corporations worldwide. Yes, there is a bubble forming, something similar to the dot-com era, where only a few players are actually going to end up owning the market. But even when that burst happens, the winners are just going to buy up the losers' data centers, and they're just going to continue to grow. Even if the expansion slows, that's still not going to fix anything for us. Keep in mind, after the crypto crash, GPU prices never really went back to normal, so hardware prices might
Exactly.
come down eventually, sure, but they're never
The
going
only, by the way, I actually know about this one. The only reason those prices did go down a little bit was because a lot of people were like, "Oh no, crypto's down. Better sell my equipment," because reasons, I guess. I know so many people that lost money on this garbage. It was hilarious.
to go back to what we used to pay. And this is not something that's just going to be limited to memory or GPUs. It's going to stretch across every piece of computer hardware, gaming PCs, handhelds, consoles, phones, everything. It makes getting into the hobby, upgrading your setup, or even just replacing something that breaks insanely expensive for everyday people. And I think that's exactly what these companies want right now. They want to squeeze customers harder than they ever have while raking in all of this investment and government backing, all to feed these business to business sales while the rest of us are going to deal with the fallout. At this rate, the hardware market is going to become completely inaccessible for most people. I've seen people talk about how the Steam machine needed to be $500 or maybe $700 at most, and these guys do not know how fast these prices are moving right now. The costs have ballooned so much that I could easily see every single major console that's coming in the next couple of years costing over $1,000 when they get revealed. Now, I know
Yeah, I mean, they almost cost $1,000 already.
some people are going to say, well, that's not going
And that was just the tad of BS, right?
to work. Nobody's going to buy hardware at these prices. And honestly, I think that
I love that no one's gonna buy things when they're expensive. Okay? People have said that throughout history every single time that they could. And guess what happened every single time? People kept buying it. And it never went down. People kept buying it, okay? The house bubble, for example, is my favorite bubble because the prices are never going down. I love bubbles that where the prices never go down.
That's exactly what some of these companies are counting on. Nearly every major publisher in the gaming industry has gone all in on AI. EA just announced their partnership with Stability AI. Ubisoft has come back from their little media silence with some new AI deals and a push for AI
Didn't Ubisoft say that they're gonna now go AI?
teammates to replace making actual
Krafton is also going AI.
friends, which is incredibly bleak. But the clearest example here is Microsoft. They have poured billions of dollars into OpenAI and Anthropic, and they've committed another $80 billion to AI-enabled data centers. They are directly feeding into the same expansion that is driving hardware
This is not even new. Microsoft has been doing that for years at this point.
costs through the roof. The same expansion that they blamed on tariffs. It is a mutually beneficial relationship for them, not for us. Guys, this is the oldest trick in the corporate playbook. Create a problem and then sell the solution. If people can't afford gaming hardware anymore, well, that becomes the perfect opening to be able to push cloud gaming, where you don't need to have a console or a PC, just a screen and a subscription. I talked about this in my video. This is the last warning, where I argued that Microsoft was pushing prices higher on purpose to be able to funnel players into cloud services where they already have been testing ads inside of their games. LD, you're
Oh god, LOL. Yes, another subscription model. That's gonna be great.
crazy to think that. You're crazy.
Yeah, it's not like again, mandatory reminder, boys. Remember, Game Pass is doing really good. Okay, it's doing the best it has ever had, through the roof and stuff. Okay, mandatory bi-weekly reminder.
Crazy to think
Emphasis on the buy.
this is all connected. Guys, I do not think you understand how big the gaming industry actually is, okay? The US entertainment sector is the largest in the world, and gaming alone is 3 times. It makes 3 times as much as film and music combined. It's still young, it's still easy to manipulate, and there is a lot of money on the table for anybody that can wedge themselves in that ecosystem, especially if they can figure out how to force ads into whatever they want, whether we like it or not. So when I see this, I do not see a bunch of different trends happening all over the place. I see one big pattern. And I'm not saying that, oh, it's gaming that's helping to push this entire AI situation. No, it just so happens that, well, it's just falling in the perfect spot for these companies to be able to take advantage of it. And of course, they're going to be taking advantage of it. That's exactly what they're doing right now. It's where coincidence and opportunity have collided for these guys. And it just so happens that your money, your hobby, and your enjoyment are caught in the middle of it. Ironically, this is happening at the worst possible time for us because the console wars are effectively dead. Exclusivity is largely gone at this point outside of Nintendo, and these guys don't care about pushing their games to be able to make profit. They're trying to profit off of their services and off of their hardware now. All the stars are aligning in the wrong way for us at this moment. There is so much money hatting going on in AI right now. It's just absolutely crazy. Every single one of these companies has their hand in each other's pockets. If you see where some of this money goes, you see one company gives it to another, that company gives it to another, and then it goes straight back to the source. They're just circling all this wealth while squeezing us.
Is he gonna show it? Most people probably know what he's talking about. It's the Nvidia bubble thing, okay? Which is stupid.
As hard as they possibly can, trying to make as much money off of us as they possibly can and force us into poverty is what it feels like. Probably actually exactly what, I don't want to talk about that right now. I mean, Nvidia and Microsoft are the biggest perpetrators here, and both of these guys have cloud gaming services. They have no problem with hardware prices spiking and people not being able to get into higher end hardware. That sounds great to these guys. And they're going to continue to expand. They're going to continue to invest. And they're doing that off of the back of investments that they're getting from private and public investors and also from the government. It's insane. These guys effectively have price control over the hardware industry because, well, they can just order them.
Microsoft does not have any say over the price of the hardware industry. Do you think Microsoft actually wants their shitty consoles to cost $500 more? Of course not. They're already dead, and this is going to make them deader. No, Microsoft has absolutely zero say in this conversation.
I'm out of stock. Well, right now this is limited to higher end hardware. It's going to trickle down to lower end hardware. I've seen some people talk about, well, I'll just buy DDR4, it's cheaper. You're not the only one thinking that. And because this scarcity is largely inauthentic and inorganic and is being controlled, well, that means that they're just going to affect those markets regardless. And the same thing goes for console markets as well. They can use the exact same excuse. Well, because the data center expansion, sorry, the GPUs or the RAM or whatever else is too expensive for this console. It's going to have to be more expensive. They're going to push it there too. And the reason why is because these guys do not need hardware to be able to make money off you anymore. It's not necessary for them. They can farm the people who can afford it, and then they can push those who can't into subscription services and cloud services where they can feed you ads or you pay a monthly sub. Doesn't that just sound lovely? Now, I'm sure it sounds...
Yeah, I'm sure Microsoft is very interested in resurrecting... Did they have Stadia or what was it called before? Yeah, I'm sure Microsoft is very keen on resurrecting that garbage so it can die a second time. I'm sure it's happening, okay? I'm 100% sure. The Game Pass is, again, Microsoft Game Pass, the Xbox Game Pass is doing very good currently, okay? It's been doing really, really good. Ignore the price hikes, by the way. They mean nothing, okay? It's fine. Again, mandatory Game Pass is doing well moment.
Sounds great to these guys. I'm sure they're all in on this idea. And if I was in one of those rooms, it would probably sound pretty good to me. But this entire thing is incredibly risky for them to do. Not because anybody's actually going to come in and try to interrupt it. That's not going to happen, at least not for a while. But they're under the assumption that customers are going to continue to chase them wherever they go. We're chasing the highest end hardware, the highest end games, but that's not necessarily what's been happening. See, the question they need to be asking themselves is what happens when players go in a different direction entirely? Because that's exactly what's happening right now. Not to interrupt the flow of this video, but man, it really sucks that we even have to be talking about any of this. We should be celebrating what this industry is capable of, especially with the Game Awards right around the corner. I've been...
who cares about the Game Awards? In any case, that was Legendary Drops 10 out of 10. Bye!